Hey guys, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. So in one of my earlier videos, I talked about my range bag and some of the training props that I keep in it. And this was one of the training props that I keep on my range bag when I teach concealed carry classes. And you get to the chapter when you talk about interactions with law enforcement officers. This is a slap bracelet. If you were alive back in the 80s and 90s, you would remember these things. These were pretty popular back in the day, being just a fun little thing to have. You have a little slap bracelet, you slap it on your wrist. I remember when I was a kid back in the 90s, if you didn't have a slap bracelet, you weren't cool. Those things, of course, have faded away as far as their popularity have gone. Kind of like fanny packs. Interesting enough, though, fanny packs are coming back, but who knows if the slap bracelet will make a return or not. But back in the 90s, back in 1993, there was an incident in Louisville, Kentucky involving Louisville Police Department where a plainclothes police officer was shot by a uniformed officer because he didn't know who he was, and the officer almost died. And this product here was a result of that. So back in 93, probation and parole goes to get some dude for something. Probably nothing, because they all say they did do nothing. So probation and parole was harassing somebody, essentially, according to the other side. And that person ran away from probation and parole. And probation and parole put out the description of the person, and Louisville police responded to their call to help locate this guy. Well, Louisville is such a large city that Louisville police operate off different channels. So over in this area, you may have this division or this zone or whatever, they operate off channel 1. These people over here operate off channel 2. These people over here operate off channel 3, and over here channel 4, etc. Well, I don't remember what the area they were in or what channel it was called. I'm sure a lot of things from the 90s have changed, and they're not the same now. But uniformed officers responded, and there was also a couple of plainclothes officers who responded as well. And to my knowledge, back in the day, those plainclothes officers, they operated off a different channel. So you had all these uniformed officers who were on scene, and then you had these two plainclothes officers roll up on scene, and they switched over that main channel that everyone else was on, and they told dispatch that they were on scene. Well, those other officers who were already out looking for the guy, it didn't really click with them in their mind that those unit numbers that these plainclothes guys called out meant that they're going to be plainclothes officers on the scene. Detective Ricky Jones was one of those plainclothes officers, and unfortunately for him, he fit the description of the suspect who was running away from the police. Well, the uniformed officers, they get out and they get a hold, or not, they don't get a hold of, but they get this dude at gunpoint. The Ricky Jones, or not Ricky Jones, but the suspect. So we'll just say, this is the suspect. This is, street, whatever. Uniformed police officers here, suspect here, Ricky Jones here, and then the other uniformed officer, Officer Bishop's here. So basically, Officer Bishop comes up and he sees Detective Ricky Jones with his gun out, pointed in this direction, and Bishop knows that there's officers over in this direction. And he doesn't know who Detective Ricky Jones is, doesn't recognize him, and he's fitting the description of the suspect. And he sees him with his gun pointed in the general direction where he knows there to be other uniformed officers at. So Bishop starts issuing verbal commands to Jones to drop the weapon and starts yelling at him, drop the gun, drop the gun. Afterwards, Jones says that he remembered hearing Bishop yell, drop the gun, but of course, Jones, being the police, it didn't register in his head that someone was trying to tell him to drop the gun, so he obviously did not drop the gun. The suspect, too, also testified that he could hear those verbal commands, and according to what he said, he was trying to eat dirt during that point. So, Officer Bishop, after seeing that this person fitting the description of the suspect with his gun pointed in the general direction of officers is failing to obey his commands, he decides to open fire. So he fires multiple times. He hits Jones in the back. He spins around, another round hits him in the abdomen, and then another round hits him in the hand, which later causes his little finger to be amputated. He starts screaming and yelling, "I'm a cop, I'm a cop, I'm a cop." He stops shooting, and they get over to him. They give him aid, and he ends up surviving. Well, the aftermath of this incident caused these slap bracelets to come about. So Louisville Police and the Kentucky League of Cities, they got together, and Kentucky League of Cities started producing these wristbands to give out to all the police officers in Louisville, so that an incident like this could be avoided. Because what came of this incident also was a big old nasty lawsuit. So this is a means to avoid future lawsuits in the minds of the people who have to do the paying out, but is also to avoid any friendly fire type of incidents. So they created these things, and the Kentucky League of Cities produces these, and all city police officers in the Commonwealth of Kentucky have these. KACO, the Kentucky Association of Counties, they produce these for sheriff, and every sheriff deputy in the Commonwealth of Kentucky has one of these. State police, to my knowledge, don't have these wristbands that look like this. They have blue wristbands, but to my knowledge, they don't keep them in their cars. They just give them out to them whenever they work plainclothes assignments. So everyone who has one of these, you will normally find them rolled up on the gear selector or the spotlight handle inside the car. And if they're ever out and about and they're in plain clothes and they have to get out and act in some type of official capacity while they're wearing gym shorts and a t-shirt, they can take this wristband, slap it on the wrist, whip their gun out, and hopefully the other responding officers who get there don't shoot them. Hopefully they will recognize this bright fluorescent thing on the person's wrist and say, "Hey, this dude's probably a cop. Let's not shoot him." As far as what other states in the United States have, I'm not really sure. I don't know if places like Tennessee have these slap bracelets. I'm not sure if New York has them. All I know is in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, city police officers and sheriff deputies have these things. I know that Kentucky State Police, they have blue wristbands. As far as university police officers and like Fish and Wildlife and other federal law enforcement agencies and special local peace officers and jailers and stuff like that, to my knowledge, none of them have any of these type of wristbands. It's just pretty much city police and sheriff deputies in the Commonwealth of Kentucky that have these. And so I keep this as a training prop in my concealed carry, for my concealed carry classes. I keep it on my range bag, and I present this to the students when it gets to the chapter where it talks about interacting with law enforcement officers. And I thought I'd make a video and share this with everyone else too, so that if you're ever out and about and you see some person, like I said, wearing gym shorts and t-shirt or wearing something that's not a uniform, and they've got their gun out and they got something fluorescent on their wrist, and you can see some letters that look like it might say police or might say sheriff, chances are they're probably going to be a peace officer. So don't point your gun at them. Just stand by, be a good witness, watch what's going on, and don't get involved in things that you don't need to be getting involved in. If it's not your fight, don't worry about it. It would suck to be Johnny be good and go get involved in something and then you get shot because you're just trying to help somebody, but they thought you was the bad guy. If you thought this was interesting, and if you got any questions, you want to know more, leave me a question in the comments, send me a message. Go ahead and like and share this. That way other people in Kentucky who got the concealed carry license will know what plainclothes officers could be wearing. That way if they do come across a scenario where there's a plainclothes officer and they got one of these on, maybe we can save an officer from being having unlawful force used against them, or getting into a scenario where someone's trying to do something to them when they shouldn't be doing anything to them to begin with. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.